So I like to just give a small little introduction to Prabhuji. So we are so very fortunate to have with us His Grace Ajita Prabhu. So well known as Avelo Prabhu. So Prabhuji is a disciple of His Holiness Prabhupada Swami Maharaj. Prabhuji is on the board of advisors at ISKCON News. He is also the marketing and communications advisor to ISKCON temples in Europe and North America. Prabhuji's spiritual foundation plays a key role in his life choices, and he meets the timeless teachings of Bhagavad Gita in his business decision-making and mentorship that he provides to more than 1,800 young men and women in US and India. Prabhuji is a serial entrepreneur, having built 8 businesses in US with multi-million dollars worth of products and services ranging from consumer electronics, artificial intelligence, healthcare process automation, food science, wireless communications, wearable technology, and graphical password applications. Currently, Prabhuji runs the largest startup incubator in East India, Kolkata Ventures, with 550 plus revenue generating startups. Prabhuji has also been listed as 40 must follow people in India in Indian startup ecosystem by Bizstore. So I know Prabhuji for last maybe 1.5 years. I've heard Prabhu's name much before than that with my friend and colleague Puri Das Prabhu and Prabhuji. Last time also, just recently I met Prabhuji in ILS. So I was seeing that Prabhuji was so keen to attend all that heavy spiritual classes as I was inspired by Prabhuji also. So I also heard that Prabhuji
और कुछ बचा नहीं है जीवन में। एक मोबाइल को देंगे यूज करेंगे, दूसरे मोबाइल को सारा दिन पागल आदमी तो कुछ और लगा उसके पीछे। I need my mobile for other things, नहीं तो मैं लॉगिन नहीं कर लेता। मुझे तो जब तक कर नहीं रहे तो इसलिए कर।
Prabhuji, can you mute yourself?
कुछ नहीं कर रहे हैं।
From there and make Prabhuji host.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
So he also founded the base setup there when Prabhuji was there during his graduation in
Chicago,
Illinois Institute of Technology. So it's quite very inspirational for all of us that instead of having so many wonderful activities Prabhuji performing, yet being so inspiring and so much even Krishna conscious. So we like to welcome Prabhuji by chanting Hare Krishna loudly. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So Prabhuji will be talking upon how to utilize our skills in spreading Krishna consciousness far and wide. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. In this can be turned off? Yes. And also a little water with this. All right. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guru Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manohishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupatagamakyam Dadati Swapanantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shyuddhapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagar Raghunathanam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sayanalita Shri Vishakhanitanscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. I offer my respectful obeisances to all of you, and I pray that I can say something that can be of benefit to all of us, connecting to Krishna's lotus feet. Is English good for everyone? You prefer Hindi or Bengali? English is good? Okay, awesome. Okay, so I would like you guys to kind of think, since you have pen and paper, think of your top 2 skills that you think you have better than others, right? Better than the common average people. It could be coding, it could be cooking, it could be, anything that Krishna has gifted you specifically. But think about it while I tell some stories, right? You introspect within your heart, you listen and you introspect within your heart. What is it that Krishna has given you? What are 2 gifts that Krishna has given you? Thank you, Prabhu. Okay. So I'll start with the story. You know the story of Crazy Peter? Have you guys heard of Crazy Peter? France? No? Okay. So Srila Prabhupada was having, he would have morning walks. Oh, you want to say something? Okay. Prabhupada used to have morning walks, and Prabhupada was coming to ISKCON Paris, Ishwara temple. And the devotees found out that there is this homeless guy with crazy hair. He was a drug addict, and he would always knock on the door and try for some food, some prasadam. And, they would just give him prasadam, lock the door and not let him in the temple. Srila Prabhupada came, and Srila Prabhupada went for a morning walk. And this boy, he jumped out of the bushes and grabbed onto Prabhupada's lotus feet. And Prabhupada and the devotees were trying to get him off. Prabhupada said, no, it's okay, it's okay. He put his hand on his head, and Crazy Peter was very satisfied, and Prabhupada said, it's okay, and he left. So by the time Prabhupada came back to the temple, the door was cracked open. The devotees were like, oh God, who came? And Crazy Peter was inside. They were like, you can't be inside, you're dirty, you're disgusting, you shouldn't be here, go out, we'll give you some prasadam. And he went again at Prabhupada, so to speak. And Prabhupada said, it's okay, let him stay. And Prabhupada massaged his head. And the devotees were like, oh, but he's disgusting, he's dirty, he's a drug addict. Prabhupada said, just clean him up, take him upstairs. They took him upstairs, shampooed his hair, cleaned him up, gave him a bath, gave him a dhoti. And then from next day onwards, Crazy Peter was scrubbing the floor, cleaning the dishes, and doing all these activities. And he would watch every morning the brahmacharis would get on a van and go for book distribution. So a few weeks later, he asked some of the brahmacharis, I also want to go for book distribution. And Crazy Peter's drug addiction had destroyed him so much that he could hardly speak. So you told him, he wouldn't be able to speak. And the book distributor said, you can't speak also. How will you distribute books? They said, no, I want to go with you. And they said, a few weeks later, maybe. And he's like, no, I want to go today itself. So he got and sat inside the van. So the morning ritual was the brahmacharis would take all the books, the prasadam, they'll go park their van in a parking lot, have breakfast. And once breakfast is over, they would go for book distribution. So as soon as the devotees were unpacking the prasadam, having breakfast, Crazy Peter went inside the van, took out a box of books and started, he ran away. Devotees were like suddenly noticed, box of book is missing, Crazy Peter is missing, where is he? And they see in the distance, like, oh, he must have stolen the books. Oh my God, now what do we do? What do we tell the temple president? Turns out Crazy Peter was actually distributing books, and he came back empty-handed. They're like, oh, you stupid person. These books are Prabhupada books. These are treasures. Why did you just, give it away? And he's like, no, I distributed these books and I got donation. And they're like, what? We haven't even started distribution. You finished the whole box. What did you do? And I said, just said, Prabhupada, behind Bhagavad Gita, there's Prabhupada's picture. Prabhupada, he saved my life. He will save yours too. Prabhupada, he saved my life. He will save yours too. And seeing his genuine calling out, people were like, maybe I'll try it out. Right? No qualification, no IIT degrees, no nothing, right? But he was so sincere that people saw that and they were attracted to it. And they bought the books. And it was a humbling reminder for the brahmacharis who are very, very qualified, initiated, wearing dhoti kurta tilak and everything else, that here is a crazy person who can also distribute Prabhupada's books without even having the ability to speak. So it's very beautiful. The process of Krishna consciousness is very inclusive. It is not exclusive. It is not that it is for certain kinds of people, Indians, intelligent, men, right? It's not for any boundaries that you can imagine. Lord Chaitanya would even make the animals chant Hare Krishna, what to speak of humans. Right? We have a hard time making humans chant Hare Krishna. Lord Chaitanya went to Jharkhand forest and slapped the elephants and the lions and the tigers and they chanted Hare Krishna. So that's Lord Chaitanya. And we are his followers. We shouldn't be like, oh, he's God. Yeah, he's God, but we are his followers. You guys have thought of your 2 skills? Written down? Thinking? Okay, you need more time? I'll tell another story. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. All of you know Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, right? Okay, how long have you been in base, by the way? So I know that how much you know. How many months, years you guys have been with Krishna consciousness? 1.5 years. 1 year. 1 year. Less than 1 year? Less than 1 year? Less than 1 year? Oh, okay. Cool. All right. So Bhakti Saraswati Thakur is Srila Prabhupada's guru. And as you know, when you are a sannyasi, you don't wear sewn clothes. You live a very austere life and everything else. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, as much as austere he was, he knew how to use everything for Krishna's service, right? So he was so powerful. I don't travel by train, almost never, only for preaching purposes. Like once for NIT Jamshedpur and now NIT Durgapur, I came by train. So I was on a train, and because the bathrooms are disgusting. But anyway, for preaching. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, I was thinking of him as I was on the train, because anytime the train would stop at a station, there would be devotees ready to hear him speak. So whatever few minutes the train would stop, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta would come out, and from the train itself, he would, protrude his head out and would speak to the devotees, the local devotees there. He would give a lecture, and the train would leave. Again, the train would stop. He would give a lecture. The train would leave. That's how he was preaching. And in Vrindavan, Vrindavan, sometimes these sadhus can be very judgmental. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, being sannyasi, he was in a hoodless car. Even today, these are like very fancy cars, Ferraris and whatnot, when you don't have the roof. Those are fancy cars. Back in the days, 100 years ago, that was fancy car as well. There were no cars whatsoever. What to speak of hoodless cars? And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he would drive through downtown Vrindavan, and all the kids and all the Vrajvasis would run after the car. Wow, what is this? There's a picture of him. He's wearing a long coat, looking very regal, right? And he would wait for the crowd to kind of pull up. And there's a lot of crowd. He would stop the car, stand up, and he would speak. Right? Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is father of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and my hero. I feel very inspired by him. In fact, my first car that I got out of college, I named it Bhaktivinoda Mobile because of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, because he knew exactly how to use every resource, every skill in service to Krishna. Even before he was wearing kanti, he was preaching, right? He is amazing. Anyway, so some glories of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a very qualified man, very intelligent. He was a district magistrate of Puri. And when he would be giving judgments to thieves and people like that, he would give them options. 6 months in jail or chanting 64 rounds for 6 months. What would you prefer? Guess what the thief would prefer? chanting 64 hours, that he had the authority from the British government to send police to their home to check if they're chanting or not, right? So he was using his work, his privilege as a district magistrate in service to Krishna to make them chant. He used his privilege as a district magistrate to destroy Bishaki Sen. You know about Bishaki Sen? And you've heard of him? Some of you have heard of him. There's this guy with hair like me, not like me, Sai Baba, you know Sai Baba, big hair. He had big hair and a lot of power stuck in his hair apparently. This guy could become weightless, this guy could become heavy and all of that. The police were scared of him. And Bishaki Sen was pretending to be Narayan and dancing with the wives of all the married men. All the people in that area were very disgusted. What do? We can't do anything. This man is so powerful. He can destroy us. So they went to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. You do something. And the police were not even going to touch him. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, I'll take care of him. He took Srimad Bhagavatam in one hand and he took the police in the other hand and he said, arrest him. The police is like, no, we're not arresting him. The police were behind Bhaktivinoda Thakur, hiding him behind him. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, fine, I'll arrest him. He went and grabbed the guy, Bishaki Sen. And the police actually went, sorry. They tried pulling him out. They couldn't because Bishaki Sen increased his weight by yogic siddhis. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur with Bhagavatam in one hand, the other hand, he grabbed this guy and brought him to the prison. And he, from the prison, he cursed him, like, I'm going to destroy you and your family. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur's daughter immediately got sick. She got fever. All three of them were having fever, but she was about to die. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur's wife was like, please get this Bishaki Sen out of jail or else we'll all die. Like, doesn't matter. He's pretending to be Krishna and I will punish him. Somehow or other, Bhaktivinoda Thakur came to the understanding his power is hidden in his hair, shaved him off. The fellow lost all his powers. Before you know, he was dead a few days later. And everything else was fine. But the point is, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was powerful. He had the power of language. There are, the intelligence, multi-intelligence theory. Have you heard of it? No. So traditionally speaking, the understanding is cognitive intelligence, that if you can do good math, you must be intelligent. But the modern theory of intelligence is multi-intelligence theory. That means there's cognitive intelligence, there's language intelligence, there's musical intelligence, there's kinesthetic intelligence. Like they did a study on David Beckham and Einstein. And what Einstein was cognitively, David Beckham is kinesthetically. Kinesthetic means you know how to use your body. Some people can dance well, some people can play football very well, some people can, do sports and whatnot. So that is also a sign of intelligence. I can't dance to save my life. I can only dance 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 and Hare Krishna Kirtans. That's about it. But there are people who can dance very well. They have that intelligence, right? Some people can sing very well. They have that intelligence. So there's multi-intelligence theory where there's 7 kinds of intelligence. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I love his bhajans. You guys know his bhajans? Yes, you sing it every day. He's known for his bhajans, how he simplifies the Vedic scriptures into simple Bengali bhajans, right? So he had this power of language intelligence and he used that in service to Krishna. So many books. You know how many Namahattas he had? Anybody knows how many Namahattas he had in Bengal and Orissa? You know, right? 1,500 to 2,000 Namahattas he was managing. What he would do is he would write these bhajans and kirtans and he would send it to the village heads and he would send them FAQs. Today we know FAQ, frequently asked questions. He would have FAQs, frequently asked questions, frequent answers, and he would give it to the village elders. The village elders would be leading the Namahattas and they would be, cultivating those people. And like that, he created, Prabhu said, 2,000 Namahattas in Bengal and Orissa. He had 10 children. He was district magistrate. He had a wife. And he was writing books every single day. If you look at his schedule, it's mind-blowing, right? And he was using everything in service. And one time he was like, I don't want to do this job with the British government. And they said, okay, fine, what do you need? And like, it's too much work to go to the office and do all these things. He's like, fine, we'll put a train platform in front of your house. And even if you go today and go through the week, now they don't have the train lines anymore. I've seen the train lines, but they've removed it. But you can see this track still there. It's like private jet. Somebody sent you a private jet. Like, okay, fine, you'll fly from a helicopter to a private jet to your office. That was Bhaktivinoda Thakur's stature. And at that time, those of you Bengalis, you will understand, Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay was the only other person who had that level of stature. The only two people in the British government who were at that high level, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. So that is the glory of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and being who he is, he used everything in service to Krishna. His social status, his intelligence, his language skills, his children. He asked for a ray of Vishnu and he transformed the whole world, right? Everything in service to Krishna. So from that we learn, nobody is, a certain category. Like certain times we have this idea that if you can do these things, then you're a devotee or else you're not. You guys have thought of your skills? Still thinking, some of you? Write it down. All right. So when I had the great desire to be a brahmachari, I told my Guru Maharaj many times, and he was like, brahmacharis don't start businesses. He was like, just show me off. Like, no, you're not brahmachari material. Like, I would be brahmachari. Anyway, somehow or other, it so happened, like Prabhu said, I established the Krishna house in Chicago. And as we were buying the house, I was staying in a rented apartment, and our rent apartment lease was expiring. The house, there were some negotiation issues, and it wasn't getting ready on time. So my lease was expiring, and I asked my mentor, I'm like, what do I do? He's a temple president, and he's a great sense of humor. He said, well, it's 3 months till Krishna house will be ready. So you can be like the Goswamis and live under the trees, but you'll die because it's Chicago. Chicago this time, it's like -18, -20 degrees centigrade. Like, you can live under the trees, or you can live in the temple. I'm like, okay, temple sounds better. So sleeping on the floor, waking up 2 o'clock in the morning, all of that, austerities and everything. And I was severely judged by the brahmacharis. They would look at me because I was always on my laptop, right? And they would do on Harinam Sankirtan, they did book distribution, morning till evening. And what is this guy? He's always in the, in his rooms. I had a gift store. I was gift store manager, Sunday Feast. I was also in charge and marketing head. I was doing a lot of things, college preaching, welcoming new devotees. So my services were very different and their services were very different. But I was always judged. He doesn't do anything. And what they didn't realize, I was getting all these services from my Guru Maharaj. So I was translating Sri Brahma Samhita for my Guru Maharaj's, who was the GBC of that place, session. He was going to do a 4-day session. He was doing 200 hours of preparation, and he very kindly gave me the service of making the PowerPoint from him. This whole yantras and Jiva Goswami's writing. It's like beyond my intelligence. I'm not very intelligent like you guys. I'm very average. And he gave me all these complicated things, and I was like trying to make sense of this and that and simplifying that into a PowerPoint. And everybody saw I'm just working on my computer, wasting my time. I was not. And then finally they complained to the temple president, like, this guy doesn't do anything. He doesn't do this and doesn't do that. And they said, you guys work with your, skills, and he works with his skills. And if you realize what he does, you would faint. And I was never in saffron. I was always in white. So there's that judgment as well. So don't judge people. Everybody, if Crazy Peter has a place in ISKCON, if I have a place in ISKCON, you guys are definitely there, right? You definitely have your skills. So I'd like you guys to share, if you can, some of your skills that Krishna has gifted you with. Anybody ready with your 2 skills? Yeah, go ahead.
I feel that I'm good in music.
Okay.
First thing, and second is I'm very curious about knowing.
Curiosity is a quality, it's not a skill. Skill is the ability to do something. So what would be your second skill?
I like to play sports. So
Sports. Okay, awesome. Anybody else? Yes, Prabhu. Book distribution. Excellent. Okay. What else? What are the skills? Yes, Prabhu.
Oh, public addressing.
Public addressing, public speaking. Fantastic. Harinam Sankirtan. Fantastic. Goloka gifts. Yeah. What else? Who else? Yeah.
I like to talk to the people, like to make context. When I go to the train, I really like from there. I will like teaching,
So interpersonal skills.
And second is that I like to analyze the facts and figures. Like what data to get some output from their data.
Analytical skills. Don't become a monito. All right, awesome. Who else? Anybody else want to share? Skills? Yeah. Management type skill. Okay. So time management. Okay, that's a great skill to have. I don't have that skill yet. Huh? The project planning. Wonderful. You'll make a good CEO. Okay, awesome. Awesome. So you understand, Krishna, I wanted you to think through, because all of us are gifted in different ways. And that's how all of our paths can be very different in how we serve Krishna, right? Not everybody has to serve in a particular way. Not everybody has to be in a particular order. And that is something, that we learn in Krishna consciousness, unity and diversity. One thing I heard that really made me happy, that Krishna, when you see on the altar, there are so many different kinds of flowers. He likes a bouquet. He likes variety. His girlfriends are also very different from each other. If you see, there's Lalita on one side, Krishna, who are you? And there's Vishaka on the other side, my dear Krishna, you're my Lord. And he likes both, right? So Krishna likes variety. Krishna doesn't like everybody to be the same category and the same order and the same Gazapita devotee. No, he likes variety. So his relationships are very, very different. Right? He uniquely reciprocates with every devotee. There's a very beautiful saying, I love it. It says Krishna's killing the demon while he's, smiling at the Gopas, because they're feeling Krishna's our hero. And he's feeling, happy about that. And then at the corner of his eyes, he's looking at the gopis. They're like, oh, he's such a hero. And Krishna's like, right? So he's reciprocating with all the devotees in his own unique way. And he likes that. He likes that variegatedness. So we should think, now comes to Srila Prabhupada's movement, right? When I started the Krishna house, I remember my first day, the first class. So Prabhupada, if you go to prabhupadvani.org, there's the Bhagavatam classes, right? So I started with the first Bhagavatam class. And Prabhupada said, now that you have this facility, but I'm shouting too much. Go from there. Yeah. So Prabhupada said, now that you have this facility, make the most of it in service to Krishna. And I was thinking, Prabhupada started with 26 Second Avenue, which is, if you half this room, that's 26 Second Avenue, right? If you ever go to New York, you'll see it. It's tiny, tiny storefront. And from there, he started a worldwide movement. It's a storefront. It's not even a voice or a base, right? And I was thinking, Krishna House is a very beautiful 3-story house with fancy, restrooms and rooms and carpet everywhere, gym, swimming pool. It's fancy. I don't do anything ordinary. I'd like to do things extraordinary. So for devotees, we made this beautiful place that they would be attracted. I don't have to beg them to come. We always had a waiting list to join Krishna House. So when Prabhupada said that, something went into my head. I'm like, yes, we will use this. And I got this visual of like, we're going into the battlefield, right? And this is our base. And we are going to have all our artilleries, our books, our students are our armies, right? And we're going to go into campus and we're going to preach Krishna consciousness. So that's how I would see. And all day long, there'd be devotees coming in and thinking creatively how to use, their skills in serving Krishna. And it was amazing. Somebody would be cleaning pots. Somebody would be using their PhD brains to preach. And somebody would be just bringing in Western students, Chinese students, whatnot. So there was always this absorption with all the devotees in Krishna House, figuring out how to use their skills. And that is Krishna consciousness, to be honest. You want to engage your mind in Krishna. It's not like you think Krishna, 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 Krishna. I mean, you can, that's wonderful if you're there. I'm not there. So what I do is how to spread this movement, how to get this easily to most people. So in ISKCON, I'm the first person who used Facebook ads to attract devotees. I'll tell you the story. What happened, how much time do I have?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So basically I just landed from India to US after summer break, and next day Guru Maharaj was coming to preach on campus. And generally what I would do is I would put up flyers everywhere on campus, especially the bathrooms. So people are in the urinal and they have to read it. They can't avoid it. That was my hack. But I didn't have time to print and put up all these flyers. So what I did was like Facebook just started monetizing advertising. And I was like, okay, let me try this Facebook ads. And I spent $5 on Facebook ads, targeting all my university students. And I was like, let's see what happens. Guru Maharaj came and he said, so Avelo, how many people are coming? I was not initiated yet. How many people are coming? And I said, Maharaj, maybe 20 people max. He's like, why so less? I said, I didn't have time to market it, Maharaj. I'm very, very sorry. He said, okay, no problem. And then as people started coming in, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, whole classroom was filled, and people were bringing chairs from different classrooms, and outside the classroom, there was a line of people. And I was like, what's happening? Is it Facebook so good, really? And Guru Maharaj leaving the IIT, and he's like, so my university is also called IIT, Illinois Institute of Technology. So he's leaving IIT, getting out his car, and he's like, so you said 20 people, what happened? I said, Maharaj, I don't know, Facebook ads. Like, Facebook works. I'm like, yeah, it seems so. And from there it started. And today I'm, helping all the temples with social media and everything, to propagate, to use the artificial intelligence to go out there and find those seekers and bring them to Krishna's lotus feet, right? But that's the thing, because I was always thinking how to use, everything in service to Krishna. And that's what I urge you to do as well, that when you see devotees, don't judge. Everybody has hope. Everybody has a gift, and find out that gift. One time Srila Prabhupada was asked by his secretary, Shrutakirti Prabhu, that Prabhupada, when I've heard the other side, that when you look at a devotee, your X-ray vision, they say that they feel that you're looking through them. So I know that version. I want to know your version. What do you see when you look at them? And Prabhupada said, I look at them and I pray to Krishna, and I tell Krishna, my dear Krishna, please help me use this devotee somehow in your service, to connect this devotee's skills in your service. So George Harrison, when he asked Srila Prabhupada, I want to join the ashram, Prabhupada said, what will you do in the ashram? You're a singer, you're popular, you're famous. Go out there on stage and chant Hare Krishna. You will get millions and millions of people to come to the Hare Krishna movement. In ashram, you'll be washing pots. No, not for you. You go out there on stage and you preach Hare Krishna. And honestly speaking, I've met people who have come to the Hare Krishna movement just by reading George Harrison's biography and reading about him being a Hare Krishna, and they just were like, what is Hare Krishna? I would Google, I would find it. And they come to the temple and they become devotees just by reading his biography. Now, we don't think of George Harrison as Acharya, but guess what? He has more influence than many great preachers by being who he is. And that's what he used in his service to Krishna. So as you come, in the process of discovering yourself, it will be unraveled to you what gifts you have from Krishna. I mean, I made you think a little bit. Prabhu will obviously guide you through it. Your mentor, your counselor will help you figure out those gifts. But as you go through life, every stage of your life, you'll realize Krishna is gifting you more gifts, more than you imagine. He says, Yogakshemam Vahamyaham. Whatever you lack, I sustain. And whatever you lack, I carry for you. Vahami, right? And whatever you have, I sustain it. So there's no loss. It's not like you're going to lose your skills by being Krishna conscious. In fact, whatever you don't have, Krishna will carry that for you. He's saying, I'm carrying it for you. So I have seen that many times. I'll share a little dependence of Krishna story. So in Delhi, there was this very big Indo-Japan conference. It was supposed to be Indo-Japan, but turned out to be like 54 countries attended. There were 1,500 people. So I was invited to speak on entrepreneurship. I was happily speaking, that's not a big deal. But then they said at that time, crypto was 2017. So crypto was getting hot, all these people, Bitcoins and everything. So there was a huge panel on cryptocurrency. And these organizers suddenly told me, sir, you have to be on the panel. I'm like, bhai, I don't know anything about blockchain, cryptocurrency, these Bitcoins. I don't invest on these things. I don't know. Sir, you know enough. So please help us out. One speaker is missing. Please be on stage. And they wouldn't take a no for an answer. So I said, fine. But I honestly, I didn't know anything. Something. A few months before that, I went to Hong Kong, and my friend launched the ICO, and I was like, he became a billionaire overnight. In 4 months, he became $0 to $1 billion. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, this is how this works. So I knew something, but not at the level at the being a panelist at such a big conference. And then I went to the green room. They invited me, and the green room, all these PhDs from Germany, from US, from Australia, and they all know each other because they're the best in the world. And they're looking at me, who's this new guy? And they're like, who are you? I'm like, Avelo Roy, managing director, Kolkata Ventures. So but what about blockchain? I'm like, nothing about blockchain. I don't know anything about blockchain. It's like, so why are you here? I'm like, they invited me. What do I do? And you see the judgmental eyes. And they all huddled up together, and I'm sitting separately in one place. Like, okay. Then I come out of the green room, and they're introducing all the speakers. Even the anchor is judging me. Like, what will I ask this idiot? I'm like, what do I do? I prayed to Krishna, looked at the stage, made it into an altar. Right? I put Raja Madhav there. I put Srila Prabhupada there, my Guru Maharaj there. I said, my dear Krishna, this is my service. If you so desire, you can give me an intelligence so I can speak something useful. If you so desire, you can make me look like a fool, and that's also okay. As you so desire, I'll do. Got on the stage, very scared. And one after another, they're coming. And they asked me some questions related to venture capital and cryptocurrency and whatnot. I answered in simple words. All these other PhDs are talking in big jargons. The whole audience is like, what? And when I spoke, they were clapping. I'm like, oh, okay, that's nice. That's a good encouragement. And then once I got off the stage, whole people were around me, clamoring for my card, my business cards. And these PhDs are standing there like this, like, why is nobody talking to us? Why is this idiot getting all the visibility? And that's when I realized, Krishna can, that verse, Pangum Langate Giri, Tat Kripa Tamaham Vande, Shri Gurum Dinakar. That's my situation. Mukam Karati Vachanam, I can hardly do anything, but somehow or other, pray to Krishna, it works. My first TED talk, same situation. I told them very specifically, do not give me the slot after lunch because people are sleepy and I don't want to speak that. When I go there, first of all, from morning till noon, I'm seeing all these amazing speakers who are 10 times my profile. I'm like, there's no way in hell anybody will listen to me. And then my slot was exactly after lunch. So I went to Krishna house for lunch and I told my best friend, I'm like, I'm not going back. I'm not speaking. Like, you're going to embarrass yourself and you're going to make them very upset. Don't do that. TED talk. It's such a big deal. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm nervous. So he realized his words won't help me. So he must complain to my mentor. He was in a GBC meeting. And from there, he said, remove yourself from the center. Do it for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. Whenever he says, I do it. And I'm like, okay. So I went there, he's like, all the profiles. And I was looking at the stage again, same thing. For the pleasure of Guru and Krishna, for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna, for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. And somehow or other, got on stage, super nervous. I don't know what I spoke. People laughed, they were taking notes. And when I got off, there were so many people surrounding me. And that TED talk was so popular around the world. I got so many messages. At that time, there was no Zoom. So I created the first online class on Skype. Right? All these people learning Bhagavad Gita. And in the TED talk, they specifically said, you cannot say the 3-letter word. What is that? God. Can I quote Bhagavad Gita? Yes, you can quote Bhagavad Gita, but don't say God. Because America, it's like there's a very strong difference of church and state. So you can't bring in religion into most things. But the point is that particular, because somehow my mentors, blessings, and I removed myself, tried to remove myself from the center of attention, where I was thinking, oh, they'll think I'm a fool. It was I moved it to, it's for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. The intelligence came, the blessings came, and I spoke something on currency of relationship, and a whole Bhakti Viksha online was created. And a few months later, actually, Radhanath Maharaj spoke on the same topic in Google. I think he even gave a TED talk on that. I was like, wow, right? So incredible. Point is, we might be very feeble, and we are, honestly speaking, very feeble. But Krishna, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham, he carries what we lack and he sustains what we have. What we have is very little by our karma. In fact, we don't even know what our karma is. But Krishna is very kind. Srimati Radharani is very kind. And all of you have this wonderful opportunity to be associated with base. So you are in a preaching movement. And I'll repeat something that I heard from His Holiness Badrinath Swami. You know Badrinath Swami? Very inspiring person. I've known him since he was a Prabhu. He came to Krishna House. He was in white at that time. And he saw all these students, coming for our program. And he took a tour of Krishna House and he was leaving, getting on his car. And before getting on the car, he sees all these streams of students coming in. And he said, Radharani has a radar? I said, Radharani has a radar? Like, yes, the Radharani has a radar. And in that radar, when you preach, you pop up on that radar. And she goes to Krishna like this, Krishna, give your mercy to this devotee. But he's a fool and a rascal. It's okay, Krishna, please give your mercy to this devotee. He's preaching your glories. Krishna, please give your, okay, fine, since you asked, here's mercy, right? Krishna can never say no to Radharani. So that's the blessing that we have, being in voice, being in bass, being in this preaching movement, where what Munis and Rishis would do for 10,000 years, standing on one leg, underwater meditations, and still wouldn't be able to achieve this. We have the opportunity in this Kali Yuga to do Harinam Sankirtan, bring in those students from NIT to here, and get Radharani's blessings. And when Krishna sees you're interested in serving, He gives you responsibilities. You will suffer. You will be blamed. You'll be chastised, like I chastised you in the morning in a little bit. That's part of the job. I have been called all kinds of names by my very close friends. And I wrote to my Guru Maharaj one day, I'm like, Maharaj, it's very hurtful when people say such things to me, but I'm willing to go through that. I'm willing to lick the boots of devotees if that's what it takes to see Krishna face to face and hug him in Goloka Vrindavan. He said, Krishna has touched your heart. And understand that when you're in ISKCON management, this will only grow in frequency and amplitude. That's how it's going to be. You're going to be blamed. You're going to not be appreciated. It's a thankless job, but Krishna is pleased to know that. And that's what I'm telling you here. Use your skills and service to Krishna. Get those students to appreciate you as a friend. Be a wonderful character. Be a wonderful leader. Be a wonderful human being, such that they are like, whatever you say, I'll do. And that's our way. That's Lord Chaitanya's way of preaching. He didn't kill Jagat Madhai. He transformed them with his kindness. The Lord Nityananda transformed them. But he was so kind. Took all their karma. Lord Chaitanya became blackish in complexion. He was golden in complexion. He became blackish in complexion for a few seconds. Because so much karma these two have done, Jagat Madhai. They're like, whoa, who does that? Right? Parama Karuna, Bahudujana, Nitai Gaura Chandra. So we are very fortunate to be born in this Kali Yuga. We're very fortunate to have Srila Prabhupada. We're very fortunate to be in ISKCON. And we're very fortunate to be in base in IT Durgapur. You guys have brains. You're the best in the country, right? Use that to your privilege. You will be in very high positions wherever you go. I promise you, because you're in Krishna consciousness, you have this Krishna consciousness, and you have your education. You will shine in life. That's a given. Now, what generally happens is after base, 16 rounds to 4 rounds to 2 rounds, and before you know it's all over. And again, at the age of 50, 60, you'll be like, my God, I'm going to die. I should chant Hare Krishna. I should find devotees and go back. Don't waste that time in the middle, right? Stay connected with Prabhu and all your wonderful counselors that you have, and stay connected to this process. I promise you, Krishna will fulfill your desires. Whatever ambitions you have, he knows more than you do because he's sitting right here. And he knows what is best for you, and he'll give it to you in a way that will purify you and bring you closer to his lotus feet. He will not give it to you in the way you want. Sometimes he might, but most of the times he doesn't. And you might feel he's not listening to my prayers. He is. He's just making you deserving. Then he fulfills your desire. And then you're like, I'm done. Krishna, now I'm all yours. Tell me, what can I do for you? Because, that's how dating works, right? How many of you had girlfriends? They're looking at you. You first go on a date, you have dinner, you give a rose, something, then you go for a movie. Then eventually you say, please marry me. Movies, right? And then you get married. It doesn't happen in one day. So Krishna is also like that. With us, we have forgotten Krishna. So initially he'll fulfill your material desires. Like, wow, this is magic. Then he'll give you some test. Then he'll test you a little bit more. Do you really want me? Yes, Krishna, I want you. Okay, here I am. I'm yours. And he becomes yours, right? He becomes a devotee's property. But before that, he tests us a little bit here and there. So when you have Krishna as your friend, you don't have to worry about anything. That's what I tell myself. Whenever I'm in a situation like I told you about the blockchain, panel, many situations have happened like that. But I'm the stupidest guy in the room. I'm like, Krishna, what do I do? Oh my God, I'm going to look like a fool. Then I think, my father is Krishna. He's the source of all intelligence, all knowledge, all richness, all fame, all beauty, all power, all strength. Krishna is my father. I have an inheritance. My dear Krishna, if you so desire, kindly help me or make me look like a fool, but I'm connected to you. That is my confidence. And that's my confidence when I go anywhere. And with that, I move out in life. And I'm a little tiny short guy with average intelligence. And the things, you see about me on Google or whatever is because of this. Somehow or other, Krishna, sees, okay, he's using this in service to, me. Let me help him a little bit. Sometimes he's very silent, doesn't help also. I mean, he helps by being silent. Sometimes he will push really hard. And it's great in the process, in this whole, roller coaster ride of Krishna consciousness. What happens is you learn who is Krishna, which is the supreme personality of Godhead. You learn the personality of Krishna. How is Krishna? What is his nature? He's very unique. And he's not like just God sitting on the altar. He is the personality. He's very clever. If you see the forbidden chapters of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, talks about Krishna's qualities, Krishna's bodily features and everything, right? So you will see how Krishna is. And when you interact, when you do service, he will show, I am here. And you will notice certain aspects of Krishna's. Of course, what is Bhaktavatsal? He's very kind to his devotees, unconditionally kind, right? You will see that what he does with Srimati Radharani. Sometimes he's just off, goes on to see Chandravali. He does that with us also. Like, praying Krishna, why not responding? He's not there. Krishna, I'm crying. Draupadi, right? Govinda, help. Govinda, help. Govinda, help. And finally, Govinda comes, last minute, right? So Krishna's nature is like that. Sometimes he likes to test us a little bit. So you'll appreciate, okay, he'll be there. He's always there. He never fails his devotee. His name is Achyuta. But sometimes it takes a little time. Once you understand that, you'll have confidence in Krishna. Then he'll not let me go. He'll just be at the bottom to hold me, like Prahlad Maharaj. Right? He had to fall from the mountain all the way down, and Krishna was there to hold him at the bottom. Generally, what happens when people try to commit suicide from a tall building, they have a heart attack before they even crash. They die in fear of falling. So in Prahlad Maharaj's case, he was bindas. He knew, my father is Krishna, he'll take care of me. So when we know Krishna, we are also confident. No matter what the situation is, breakup, financial issues, education issues, not getting a job, getting fired, doesn't matter. You'll be confident. Krishna will take care of me. He is one friend. He is one master. He is one father who will never let go. His name is Achyuta. Remember that name. Whenever you have any time you're like, I'm failing. Oh my God, what's going to happen? Achyuta. Krishna is infallible. He might break his own promise. He doesn't break the promise of his devotees, right? Achyuta. So remember that. And with that, I'll end my session. Thank you very much for patiently hearing. And I hope that you, all serve very nicely and become wonderful devotees. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yes, bro. একটু জোরে বলো। How to balance material and spiritual life? I'll tell you a story that will help you understand how time works. Me and my co-founder, we were going to a very important meeting with our investors. And there was half an hour, there was 20 minutes left. And generally 4 rounds take half an hour, 7.5 minutes takes half an hour. So we decided that we will go late to the meeting, but we'll first finish our rounds and then leave home. Now in the US, here late is okay. In the US, 10 minutes late is deadly, right? If you come on time, you're late. If you come before time, you're on time. We are going to be 10 minutes late just to finish our rounds. This is a miracle, actually. So he and I sat down, we chanted our rounds, not speeding up. And we're like half an hour. Finished 4 rounds, we looked at the watch, we had 5 minutes extra. We were speechless. We looked at each other like, what? How? And then we remembered, Maya Takshena Prakriti. Krishna is the superintendent of Maya. So you can take time, energy, and manipulate it. Right? So when you focus, when you prioritize Krishna, you will open up time. My spiritual master in State University of New York, Buffalo, he was a pre-med student. That means, here we have MBBS. They have, before you can be MBBS, you have pre-med. So very tough. So he was having multiple majors, pre-med, and he was a straight A student. When he came to Krishna consciousness, he had no time for studies. When he started chanting Hare Krishna, 2 hours he dedicated to 16 rounds, 2 more hours opened up, he says, to reading books of Prabhupada and doing all his studies. And he qualified for Harvard Medical School to become a doctor. He didn't go, become a brahmachari and then sannyasi, but he qualified. The point is, when you prioritize Krishna, this is a material world. His servant. He will make it all work for you. But when you prioritize Maya, she can't do that. She'll be like, come away from Krishna. That's what her job is. So prioritize Krishna, have the intense desire, my dear Krishna, I'm not able to do it, but please help me, I want to do it. I want to prioritize spiritual activities over material activities. I don't want any material activities, in fact. Make it all spiritual. I'm talking to you in a Vyasasana, and tomorrow I'm going to be talking in stage. It's all spiritual. All Krishna's energy. The way you see it makes a difference. And that's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was using everything. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, like he was trained in his service. Srila Prabhupada was using a dictaphone in his service. These are material things, right? They were spiritualized. If you go to Bhaktivedanta Manor in London, they have the dictaphone and they put flowers in the dictaphone. Spiritual. Prabhupada translated these verses in that dictaphone. So there is no, after you become a devotee, there's no thing as material versus spiritual. It's all spiritual. Study for Krishna. Work for Krishna, earn for Krishna, fight for Krishna. It's all for Krishna. Arjun was not doing, ghanta, nere pujo kurche. No, he was killing people for Krishna. That's bhakti. He didn't want to fight. He's like, I would rather beg in the Himalayas, but you're saying it's Krishna Vachanam Tava. You say that, I'll do it. Now I know you're God. I'll do it. Understood? Prioritize Krishna, he will take care of Maya. Like, not your jurisdiction, I'll take care of him. Time, intelligence, memory, whatever you need, Krishna will provide. Okay, anything else?
So
Yes, Prabhu.
Now we are pretty much conditioned. So in our, whenever we are in a problem, we are not able to play Krishna. We rather think that, no, I would be able to manage it myself. We find ways about how should I come out of this instead of praying. So how should we
make it a mechanical effort? Initially, it'll be mechanical. Make it a habit. Whenever there's difficulty, put your mind to Krishna. My dear Krishna, please help. Right? It won't happen. So you missed an opportunity. You'll be like, oh, I didn't think of Krishna. Next time, when the problem happens, my dear mind, please remind me of Krishna. Next time also you'll forget. Again, you'll hit yourself. God, again I forgot. Next time, my dear mind, please remind me of Krishna. So like that, you make an impression on yourself, slowly, mechanically, you'll say, Krishna, please help me. Krishna, I'm yours. If you so desire, kindly help me. Right? And then it becomes a habit. Then you feelingly calling out. Like chanting only. Initially it's mechanical. Eventually you feelingly call out Krishna's holy name. Same way. Right? And it becomes a habit. So there's a 4R formula. You recognize, you rectify, you reflect, and you reinstate. You recognize, I forgot Krishna. You rectify next time. Right? You reflect, how can I make the environment such that I'm reminded of Krishna? Maybe I'll wear a Krishna wristband. Maybe I'll have Krishna's picture in my room. Maybe I'll have a whatever, that reminds me of Krishna. And you reinstate with full enthusiasm. Next time I'll do it. And you keep trying and you keep trying, Krishna will help you. Yeah. Anything else? Any other questions?
There is one question from Avelo Kumar asking Hare Krishna Prabhuji. After performing devotional service, the previous attractions are overcome, but still, when we go to college, previous temptations again comes back. Please give me solution for this.
You're not a pure devotee and don't try to be. Learn to tolerate as much as possible these temptations and create a Krishna conscious environment. One of the things Srila Prabhupada has given us is the scriptures in his purports. So when we learn these things, we can see the world through the eyes of scriptures. And one of the things you can do is observe yourself, right? Watch the mind being influenced by the modes of passion and ignorance. It's a very powerful exercise to do. When you observe the mind, wow, look at that, how Maya Devi is influencing me. That itself will help you hit the pause button and understand what is happening. It's not you, it's your mind. And it's not just natural, it is an influence that is happening. And when you recognize your enemy, then only you'll be able to act on it. No, I don't want this. This leads to that goal. I want to go in this direction. Just like when you buy a ticket to go to Mayapur, right? You're going to Mayapur. Somebody gives you a ticket to Tarapit. You don't go there, right? You say, I have bought a ticket to Mayapur. Somebody tries to distract you in some other direction, you don't. But for that, you need to know that you're distracted. A lot of times we don't even know. So observe yourself and then rectify, recognize, and reinstate back in service. But don't blame yourself. Don't get into guilt trip. Just pray to Krishna. My dear Krishna, look at these temptations. If you so desire, kindly help. Krishna likes humble prayers. Then he helps. Good. Should I stop? Okay. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
For such a wonderful talk, a wonderful inspiration talk. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare Hare
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Ram Ram Hare Hare. ধন্যবাদ প্রণাম প্রভু।
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Rose, for joining.
ধন্যবাদ প্রণাম প্রভু, ধন্যবাদ প্রণাম প্রভু।
হরে কৃষ্ণ প্রভু।
হরে কৃষ্ণ প্রভু।